GICs are not that guaranteed.
Okay.
And yeah, so what I was saying is here, so a truth that people don't necessarily want to hear when it comes to savings and personal finance. GICs are not all that guaranteed. And part of the reason for that is the guarantee that a GIC offers is a gross guarantee. So, for example, if you go to a bank or credit union and they offer you a GIC, let's say they offer 4%.
Sure.
That's a gross guarantee. So, in other words, they'll pay you your principal, and depending upon the institution, the principal is covered by deposit insurance, which, depending if it's a federally regulated institution, they only guarantee it up to $100,000. If it's provincially regulated, like a credit union, for example, it varies by province. Ontario, for example, only guarantees $250,000. Currently, Alberta, BC, and Saskatchewan is unlimited. That could be subject to change if the governments there decide to do so. But in terms of the return is only a gross guarantee, and so gross as in before inflation and tax.
Right.
That's always been a challenge. This was always a challenge, especially back in the pre-early pandemic phases. Pre-2022, I should say, because after 2008. Between 2008 and 2020, arguably 2022, we had one of the 15 years of one of the lowest interest rate environments in modern history. Basically, you'd be lucky to get, in many cases, 2% on a GIC.
Right.
And the average rate of inflation that the Bank of Canada wants to target is 2%. So let's put it this way: if the rate of inflation is higher than what the GIC is, you are technically losing money.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't see it. You don't see it because inflation.
Yeah.
People don't see how
it's like invisible. Yeah.
It's an invisible loss. Whereas that's always the challenge when you deal with an investment portfolio, is because it goes down. It's more
right
to a degree. Ironically, it's more transparent. And also, again, with the GIC, depending upon the type of account it is, it could be subject to taxes. So if it's in a non-registered account, you have to pay taxes on the interest every year for it.
Mm-hmm.